You are entering a space where we examine those that are doing it wrong.
The left is losing its fucking mind. I made this channel a long time ago. Not a long time ago. Months ago. Had a plan for it. Did some shit. Thought it was shitty. Didn't re-record it. Got on to other stuff. I followed my ADD to something else. But I spent some time on the tweet machine this week, more so than usual. And fucking irritated me. I am seeing a level of horse shit come from the left that, I generally consider my people. It's where I consider myself part of them. And the level of fuckery that's being said, the level of co-signing Donald Trump, what the fuck, is unbelievable. So, I'm going to play a thing here. The very endeared and totally full of shit Jimmy Dore.
He's the judge that signed the warrant for Donald Trump. And everybody was saying, Trump appointed that guy anyway. Trump appointed that guy anyway. Ha ha. And they're all laughing.
Who the fuck is they? I didn't hear that. Just they. The they said it. Good reporting, Jimmy.
But turns out, no, Trump didn't appoint that guy. That guy is not appointed by a president. He's unelected. He's chosen by some kind of judicial board. I don't even need to go into it.
He doesn't want to get into it because it doesn't fit his fucking narrative. Magistrate judges do warrants, initial appearances, that sort of shit. They're appointed in federal court by the judges on the court, okay? There's currently 15 full-time judges on that court, eight Republicans, 7 Democrats, but 4 of them were appointed by Trump after this guy was appointed, so it's hard to tell what the fuck the mix was at the time. What is the chief judge at the time was appointed by H.W. Bush. That changed this year, so the current chief judge is appointed by George W. Bush. Either way, the guy was, of 63 candidates for the position, he was chose. So some people thought he was pretty fucking qualified. Also of note, his wife is a judge in Florida in the state system. She was appointed by Rick fucking Scott, who is now a Trump acolyte and total douchebag.
Point is, fact check, even the USA Today knows that Bruce Reinhart, who approved the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago, was not appointed by Trump.
That's true. You got one
the
right,
Post
Jimmy.
claim about Reinhart's tie, but guess what? He is tied to Jeffrey Epstein. That judge is tied to Jeffrey Epstein? Yes.
Now, catch this fucking connection he makes.
The Post claim about Reinhart's ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein associate is accurate. This is from a USA Today fact check. They even admit that it's accurate because they can't deny it.
No, because somebody's reporting the facts. It's all a big conspiracy. There's not because they're corporate-owned news. That means that everyone there is a fucking shill. That none of the reporters there are doing any good work. This is the first dumb thing that we need to get over on the left, okay? There are people working at corporate news places, mostly in print. Fuck your television, throw it out. In print. There's people at the New York Times, there's people at the USA Today that are working there so they can get the fucking resources to do work, okay? I'm talking about the people that produce the work. Yes, there are corporate influences and there's all kinds of fuckery going on, and you should weigh that when you read them, but they're not reporting it because they can't fucking deny it. They're reporting it because it's a fucking fact.
Reinhart represented several of Epstein's employees, including Epstein's pilots and his scheduler.
No context to what the scheduler did. Because, Jeffrey Epstein, he got all his money by, his awful, fucking horrific sex trade bullshit. That's what happened. He didn't get his money any other way. He didn't have a life, anything. But no context. It's a guy that worked for Epstein. Like, those people don't deserve to be defended by anybody. Meanwhile, the guy didn't defend Epstein. He defended a pilot, a driver, some other shit. And the next bombshell's coming.
In 2008, as a defense attorney prior to becoming magistrate judge, according to Politico. The judge who approved the FBI's Mar-a-Lago search represented clients linked to... Look at the subheadline here. The subheadline says, Bruce Reinhart worked as a federal prosecutor until January 1st, 2008, when a day later, he became a defense attorney representing employees of Epstein.
Very true. So you got to get two right, Jimmy. So the way Jimmy's going to phrase this is that he up and quit one day, and the next day was going to work for Epstein people. I looked. They can't really tell. So that means he didn't even fucking look. He just read the thing. It's hard to tell what really happened. But another plausible scenario is that he planned to leave, given that he left at the beginning of the year. People don't usually just up and fucking walk out the door on January 1st. It's usually a planned thing, right? And in the time in which he announced he was going to leave the federal prosecutor's office, and went into private practice, which he stayed in private practice for 10 years after he went into private practice, that he had what was probably an opportunity to make a fuck ton of money. Quite frankly, you can disagree with the guy's decision to represent these people, but I mean, people also do deserve to be represented, and I could certainly understand a greater deal of outrage if he went and represented Epstein, but that's just not what happened. He represented a driver, a pilot. The guy was filthy rich and had employees. I don't know what to fucking tell you. And nowhere in this, by the way, does Jimmy remind us that Trump's labor secretary was the one that let Epstein off the hook the first time around. We're not reminded. Let's not bring that up, because that might be anti-Trump, and Jimmy's a fucking Trump cunt.
So when he quit being a federal prosecutor, the next day he went and defended the worst, biggest scum in the world.
You see what he did there? The next day, keeps tearing away. The next day. He's such an ignorant fuck. This is really high-level media literacy here. Because if you think about it for more than a second, it's clickbait, you ignorant fuck. What did this guy do? It's New Year's Day. He decides he's going to go break into his work at the federal prosecutor's office, piss on his boss's floor, toilet paper the fucking empty parking lot, and leave his letter of resignation that day, fucking out at a random. He didn't think about. He saw it and he got all happy. He saw the headline, or his wife fed it to him, because who knows what the fuck he does. And the next day, it's a fucking holiday. How did he quit on a holiday? Again, I'm not saying I fucking watch the news about federal prosecutors, but I can't recall a federal prosecutor just being like up and quitting one day, right? You'd think that'd be kind of news, because it'd be so fucking out of pocket. Again, if you think about it for more than a second, he's a fucking assistant federal prosecutor for several years. He leaves. He probably didn't fucking burn bridges, just scorch the fucking earth on the way out. This dipshit would do that, but humans wouldn't. And went into private practice. Yep, he had these clients, total facts, and then stayed in private practice for 10 years until he was appointed to the fucking magistrate judge that he is now. But I mean, did you not think January 1st, it's a fucking weird day to quit your job? Who the fuck works that day? I mean, working class people do in retail jobs, but this fucking guy wasn't. He's just too busy frothing at the mouth to have a fucking thought like a human being.
Couldn't wait. Jeffrey Epstein, the guy who's in bed with the CIA. That's who that prosecutor went to work for. So you know who that guy's working for. He works for the establishment. He is the establishment. And as we've already proven to you, the establishment hates Donald Trump, not because he's different than them, but because he's bad for their brand.
What the fuck is he talking about? That thing doesn't work. What the fuck is he talking about? He's bad for their brand. He is their brand. Half the fucking party still denying that the election was rigged. or was fair, that the election wasn't rigged. They're still carrying on about that shit. He's bad for their brand. He's their entire fucking brand. What the fuck is he talking about? And how do you get how do you get more establishment than the fucking president of the United States? How is that not establishment? It's not possible to be more establishment.
People became aware that we were locking kids up in cages when Donald Trump people became aware we were bombing Muslims with a drone program that killed 90% innocent people when Donald Trump began. People become aware of the horrible stuff our government was doing, and that's what this is about.
Not the horrible policies under the Trump administration, but he was just a victim. He was just, he's trying to be a peacenik, loving guy, and the deep state implemented the fucking programs to keep kids in cages, and at a scale that was far greater than had been done before, and a drone program that was at a scale far greater than had been used before. We'll skip over those facts.
So also, the judge who signed off, he made anti-Trump posts.
Oh, we made anti-Trump posts. You gotta love the support. Great support, Jimmy's wife. Ha!
On Facebook. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Facebook posts have now emerged illustrating how Reinhardt has been anti-Trump from the beginning.
There was a lot of people that were anti-Trump at the beginning. Ted fucking Cruz, maybe?
In one post, Reinhardt praised former congressman and civil rights activist John Lewis by quoting Robert Reich. By quoting Robert Reich, who said Donald Trump doesn't have the moral stature to kiss John Lewis's feet. That's the judge.
Why would that display moral stature if he kissed his feet? There
is former reporter and current contrarian of the now unrecognizable gray zone chiming in from the bleacher seats.
I don't. Reinhardt,
Epstein's Island got pretty weird.
Yeah, they did get pretty weird. Reinhardt also betrayed his disdain for Trump by revealing that he tried to ignore the then president-elect's tweets.
Ignoring the ranting bullshit that the former president used to jam into Twitter? That's bias. You can't do that. You gotta suck his ass.
Try harder, dude.
In another post shared by Reinhardt, the judge shared a viral video about white privilege from an account called Woke Folks.
It's a joke.
Reinhardt's anti-Trump sentiments bolstered Trump's assertion that the raid on his property, carried out by the arrogant FBI agents who even ransacked Melania's wardrobe, was a coordinated political attack and a total abuse of justice.
I see that that's branded as Summit News. I don't know what the fuck that is. But that's literally Trump PR material. That's straight off the desk of somebody writing on behalf of Donald Trump. That's Trump spin. It's unfucking believable. Jimmy's reading Trump PR, talking about how, the position he's basically taken is that, Russia on this warrant shit, right? And that the FBI did it in their establishment, and the judge, he, represented the wrong person, represented some of Epstein's employees or whatever, and since Epstein is the CIA and he represented his employees, that then by default the judge's establishment. Trump, the outsider. He's bad for their brand. They don't like him. It's the biggest fucking load of horseshit. He's just trying to boost the guy. Let's look at another example. This is really by omission rather than boosting, but this is Jackson Hinkle. He's generally of this like YouTube content creator masquerading as journalist people. He's generally the fuckboy of the group, and he's referring here to Andrew Tate, which I don't know what the fuck that is. I looked quickly. He's a dude that was on a reality show, and there was something about a video of him beating a girl with a belt or something, and he since then, that was some time ago. Since then, it's become some sort of, social media. So he's achieved some sort of popularity on social media by being a misogynist asshole, basically. Apparently Facebook and Instagram gave him the fucking see you later as of the last couple days. Also on brand that that Henkel would try and frame misogyny as traditional values, but that's a different fucking topic. But I'm really interested in the first part here. War criminals like Clinton, Obama, Bush, Cheney, killed a bunch of people still on social media, and the misogynist asshole is fuckboy's point here. Weird. Like, wouldn't you think that the droniest killing president of that we've had, killed more people with drones, or at least he did in his first 2 years before he then changed the requirements so they'd stop reporting those things, so that he could go on droning the shit out of people with impunity. And we also learned that in last year, after the new administration came in, that the former president also basically changed all the requirements, made the requirement less to initiate a drone strike. They didn't have to run it off the chain. CIA could just do whatever the fuck it wants. That's not one criminal like. Like the intentional omission of Trump here is just interesting. It's like he's not one of them. He's different. And we'll do it again. Here's we're Andrew Tate thing. I don't really give a shit about. But Bill Clinton's not banned from social media despite his connections to Epstein. Well, Trump in 2002, in a profile in New York Magazine that they did on Epstein, before anybody knew that he was the fucking worst person in the world, Trump says a bunch of nice things about Epstein. They're saying that he's reserved and doesn't drink or do drugs like Trump, and doesn't party or whatever. And then they get a quote from Trump that says he's a fun guy. So that's interesting. And then at another point, Trump says, I don't know that guy, much later on. And then at some point after that, realizes, oh, I do know that guy. I wasn't a fan of him. And that's not sketchy. Again, just like taking the pass over. I mean, I don't care about shitting on Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's a piece of shit. But like the intentional omission of Trump here is weird. It's almost like they don't want to criticize him. Let's talk about what Jimmy didn't want to talk about, apparently. He's busy talking about fucking Facebook posts. Talking about the judge that signed the fucking warrant. Like, Trump doesn't even deny he has the documents. So how's the fucking warrant corrupt? Fucking no logic. He's a dumbass. But anyway. Let's talk about what Jimmy didn't want to talk about. The guy in Florida with the documents and his personal property he's not supposed to have. And I don't know, but her emails seems to keep coming up. Fuck her. Who cares about her? The fuck does she have to do with anything? Know what she didn't do? Win. She's fucking irrelevant. Hopefully she stays irrelevant because she's an awful human being. But I digress. Doesn't want to talk about the guy with the documents he's not supposed to have at his personal property in Florida, the same location that he just hosted the Saudi government, the Saudi family's newest business venture just a few weeks ago. Same location. I hope it's ironic. I don't fucking believe in irony. What about the guy in Florida with the documents he's not supposed to have at his personal property who just hosted the Saudis a couple of weeks ago with their newest business venture. The same Saudis that just gave his son-in-law $2 billion last year. 6 months out of the White House. They left the White House. 6 months later, Jared's got $2 billion. Funny thing about that is the Saudi, I forget what it's called, but the Saudi fund that gave that money, invested that money, they have its own review board. And that review board looked at this and was like, fuck no. Like, they don't have any fucking processes in place. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. And we're putting in all the money. Like, it's all our skin in the game. Why would we do this? It doesn't make any sense. Don't do this. And then MBS pushed it through from the top. Went to the top of the Saudi government, and Jared got his $2 billion. It's almost like they want something, huh? Let's not talk about the guy in Florida with the documents his personal property is not supposed to have. Just hosted the Saudis a couple weeks ago. Same Saudis that gave his son-in-law $2 billion. Same Saudis that he actively conspired with after the fact to cover up the murder of an American resident. A journalist dissident from Saudi Arabia. Saudis killed him. We all know they killed him. Trump said, no, they didn't. It's somehow, in all the nationalism in Trump's rhetoric, it became cool to conspire after the fact, cover up a fucking murder of an American resident by a foreign power. But the judge made Facebook posts. Let's not talk about the guy in Florida with the documents he's not supposed to have, his personal residence where he hosted the Saudis a couple weeks ago. Same Saudis that gave his son-in-law $2 billion. Same Saudis that he covered up a fucking murder with. Same Saudis that his administration aggressively and covertly attempted to enable to get on the path to a nuclear fucking weapon. Am I warmer? Just wondering. Let's not talk about the guy with the documents he's not supposed to have in Florida, his personal residence, hosted the Saudis a couple weeks ago. Son-in-law got $2 billion. Covered up a murder, tried to enable to get on the path of nuclear weapons, yet accused during the 2016 campaign.
You will find out who really knocked down the World Trade Center because they have papers in there that are very secret. You may find it's the Saudis.
Ironically enough, if you accuse him of that in the campaign, he then made his first state visit to Saudi Arabia. And then after he looked 9/11 families in the face and told them he was going to release FBI documents on the investigation into 9/11, then declared the evidence against a foreign country about their involvement in terrorist attack on American soil, called that state secrets. This is Jimmy's guy. Of course, in the current administration, Biden signed an executive order, and it wasn't out of the goodness of his heart by any fucking means. It was under great pressure from the 9/11 families because they knew they just got fucked by Trump. So they didn't ask. They exerted extreme pressure. Told Biden, don't release those documents. Don't come to the 9/11 anniversary events. Tough shit. She did it right the second time. Played hard. So Biden signed an executive order that released all those documents. And if you go read them, nobody's really reporting on it because I don't know. There's too many explanations to make it concise because we're a fucked up people. But nobody's really reporting on it. But if you go read those documents, you can also look at a website called FloridaBulldog.com. Shout out to those guys. They've done just incredible work, starting with the Florida cell. Soon after 9/11, have sued the FBI a couple times, I think, at least twice, trying to get documents. They've done the best reporting on 9/11 in the country. They have a whole section dedicated to their 9/11 stuff. I suggest you go read it. They also, you can read the documents from the FBI portal where they release the stuff, but summarize. If you want to summarize, you can read those guys. There is no longer any reasonable doubt. There's no way to objectively conclude anything other than the Saudi regime, from its highest levels, provided direct material and logistical support to those that carried out 9/11. You have to suspend fucking reality to come to a different conclusion. And the guy with the fucking documents at his personal residence in Florida, who hosted these fucking people 2 weeks ago, who his son-in-law got $2 fucking billion, covered up a murder, tried to put these same fucking people on the path to a nuclear weapon. Hey, but the judge posted on Facebook once. You fucking coward piece of shit.